welcome to another BookTube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. I hope you're doing very, very well. I'm doing very, very well because today is book haul day. This is a very exciting book haul. I've been sent some books by the publishers. I bought a book at a garden centre of all places. I went on a lovely little bookish reunion with Mercedes and Jen, and we stopped in Daunt Books and I bought 4 books there, and I've been sent some from my wish list as well, which has been lovely. In amongst these books, guys, there's some Christmas books, which is very, very exciting. So yeah, we'll the Christmas books are sort of sandwiched in the middle. But yeah, all books. I'm excited about all of them. Let's start, first of all, with 3 books that were sent to me by Book Break, by Pam Macmillan. And they are these amazing Macmillan's Collector's editions. I have a few of these already, and then recently I bought Lark to Candleford because I was we read it for the podcast that I do for the Archers podcast, all about the Archers, and in the Archers they were reading Lark to Candleford, and the book that I got my hands on was the lovely edition of that. By the way, I'll link the video down below if you'd like to watch me and some other Archers enthusiasts talk about Lark to Candleford. And then I asked Book Break, I asked Pam Mac if they would send me a few more of them because they're absolutely adorbs. So I've got I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith. I have read this before, but I would love to revisit it. And then I've also got North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. If you watch my Friday reading vlogs, let me just get it because I'll explain while I've got that one. If you watch my Friday reading vlogs, oh, she's really rummaging, you'll know that I've been working my way through this the Ultimate Reading Challenge, and I'm down to a few, well, a lot, but a few more challenges that I would like to get done by the end of the year. And one of them is reread a book you read at school that you didn't like, or something like that. Let's find the actual... Reread a classic you hated. Oh god, everything's falling off. Reread a classic you hated in high school. It's in this little envelope here, and then every time you finish one of these little challenges you get a little prize inside, which is lovely. Now, I couldn't think of a classic that I hated in high school, but I could think of one that I didn't read despite doing a whole entire exam on it. So, and that book is North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. Many times over the years, people have told me that I would enjoy North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. We read Hard Times by Charles Dickens the first term, and then the second term we read this. I really enjoyed Hard Times by Charles Dickens, by the way. And yeah, this is about Margaret Hale, who moves from rural southern England to the turbulent northern mill town of Milton. And it's about her sort of relocating, and yeah, one of literature's greatest romances. North and South is both an incisive social commentary and an electric portrayal of all-conquering love. So yeah, so I thought that would fit for that prompt because I can't say I hated it, but I couldn't think of any books that I hated in high school. But yeah, this was one that I certainly should have read in high school, so that will go for that. And then the last one I got was a Christmas one. This so begins the Christmas books. This is classic Christmas crime stories, which are edited by David Stuart Davis. Great front cover with this sort of dead body with all this mistletoe underneath, and then on the back is a turkey being served. The stories in here. So these, the Macmillan's Collector's Library, they do a whole host of different stories, and I've actually got Christmas stories as well, I think, somewhere. But they've got like classic dog stories, classic cat stories, all sorts of different. But let's have a look. So the Blue Carbuncle is in here, which is an Arthur Conan Doyle story. There's a book here, there's a story here called Cambric Tea by Marjorie Bowen. Let's have a look. Boxing Unclever by Robert Barnard. Markheim by Robert Louis Stevenson, amongst others. So yeah. Nice. Very nice indeed. So I promised you the beginnings of some Christmas books. Let's carry on. This was also sent to me by Book Break. This is And So This Is Christmas by Brian Bilston. This is a collection of 51 seasonally adjusted poems. And yeah, I mean, you know I love Christmas. And I've been finding my feet with poetry this year. And I had a little flick for it. So originally I got sent the excerpt of this. Here it is. And I loved the poems that were included in that so much. I asked if I could have the if I could have the finished copy. I'll read the one that's on the back because this is very fun. It's the words are in the shape of a Christmas tree. So it says, I wrote a poem in the shape of a Christmas tree, but then forgot to water it, and only a few days later there were words all over the carpet. I just think that's really cute. So yeah, there's a lot of sort of like experimentally stuff in here that I've not seen before. For example, this one, Gloria in Excel spreadsheet, which I thought was quite cool. So yeah, looking forward to getting to that at Christmas time. And then for the book that I bought at the garden centre, and that is Christmas at the Palace by Giovanni Sciarica. It was on a 2 for £5 deal. I did not get it in the 2 for £5 deal. There was no other books there I wanted, so I just bought it for £2.99 in the garden centre, amazingly. So the reason I picked this up, like, you'll know that I'm just peeling off this sticker. You'll know that my reading takes a bit of a turn in December. Not only does it become very Christmassy, and I read a lot of Christmas books on the run up to Christmas, but also I tend to read sort of like things like this. Romances and women's contemporary fiction books and stuff like that. And I picked this up because there's a distinct lack of authors of colour when it comes to Christmas books, and I saw that this was by an author of colour and was like, absolutely pick it up. So the blurb doesn't sound very Lauren, but we'll see how we get on with it. So it says, not even in her wildest imaginations did Kumari ever think she'd become a princess, but having fallen for Ben, or rather Prince Benedict, sixth in line to the throne, it looks like nothing will ever go as planned again. And as Christmas rapidly approaches, the distinction between family and royalty becomes ever more apparent. With the paparazzi hounding her, her job on the line, and some rather frustrating royal training, Kumari feels panic set in. Does loving Prince Charming mean she'll ever get her fairy tale ending, and on her own terms? Yeah, there we go. It sounds like a Hallmark sort of movie, doesn't it? But yeah, if I don't get on with this, my mother certainly will. So if I give it a go and don't like it, I will pass it on to my mum and she will read it from then. Then the Christmas Appeal. So this is the beginnings of the book that I bought when I went to Daunt Books with Mercedes and Jen. Yeah, so this is Janice Hallett's recent book. So you'll know that I loved The Appeal when I read it, not last year, the year before. David read it in one weekend, which is just completely unheard of. But sadly, since then, we haven't particularly got on with the other Janice Hallett books. We tried buddy reading The Orpington Angels together earlier this year. We couldn't get on with it. I read the Twyford Code and I didn't enjoy it at all. And yeah, but we're hoping that The Appeal, which was both one of our favourite books, really enjoyed it, with added Christmas, is going to really help us. So yeah, this is about, it says here, a Christmas panto, a dead Santa, and everyone's a suspect. So The Appeal is a murder mystery book, a mystery book where a murder takes place, told through emails, minutes from the parish council meetings, text messages, notes that are left on people's cars or desks and things like that. And yeah, you really feel involved with it. And this is sort of the Christmas version of that. So it says, Christmas in Lower Lockwood, and the Fairway players are busy rehearsing their favourite pantomime, Jack and the Beanstalk, to raise money for the church roof appeal. But despite the season, goodwill is distinctly lacking amongst the amateur dramatic enthusiasts. Sarah Jane is fending off threats to her new position as chair. The fiberglass beanstalk might be full of asbestos, and everyone is intent on ruining the panto before the curtain goes up. There's also the matter of the dead body. Who could possibly have had the victim on their naughty list? Join lawyers Femi and Charlotte, they're from the first one, as they read the round robins, examine the emails and pore over the police transcripts. Will you discover the truth before they do, and will the show go on? So yeah, it's quite a shorter one, more novella size, I would say. It's under 200 pages. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. This is going to be, I haven't revealed the other book, but all throughout Patreon Book Club this year, I've been saying that this is the book that we're going to read in December for Christmas Patreon Book Club. But there will still be a vote. So this is David's offering for that. I haven't picked my offering yet, but I imagine this will probably win. And I would not be sad if it won at all. I would let David have it. And then the other books that I bought from Daunt Books. First of all, I bought The Break by Katharina Vermette, and I said to Mercedes, Mercedes I know is very much enjoying reading books by Indigenous authors, and as they're sort of published by American presses and other presses, I find it quite hard to get them from the library or pick them up in sort of Waterstones and stuff like that. And while we were there, I said, oh, what's your favourite book by an Indigenous author? And she said, oh, it's on the shelf, I've just seen it. It's The Break by Katharina Vermette. So yeah, so I went and picked it up straight away. Also, one of my reading challenges is read a book that features an Indigenous person. So this book is from an Indigenous author featuring Indigenous people. When Stella, a young mother in an Indigenous community, looks out her window one wintry evening and spots someone being attacked on the break, a barren field on an isolated strip of land outside her house, she calls the police. By the time help arrives, all that is left of the struggle is blood on the snow. As the search for the victim intensifies, people are connected both directly and indirectly. Police, family and friends tell their personal stories leading up to that fateful night, uncovering secrets and resentments long buried and giving blazing testimony to the lived reality of people pushed out to the coldest edges of modern Canada. So that is actually going on the TBR for this month, so there we go. And then I got myself this, The Raven's Nest, An Icelandic Journey Through Light and Darkness by Sarah Thomas. I should say, I mentioned this in another video, but Daunt Books is arranged by country, which is just an amazing, amazing thing, because I do have massive interest in the Scandinavian countries, Iceland and Norway in particular. So to be able to go to that area, to that region, and just sort of pick books off the shelves that I know I'm going to love because they're about that area. A 10 out of 10. And you may also know that one of my favourite books is a book by another Sarah called Names for the Sea, Strangers in Iceland, where she relocates to Reykjavik for a year. Well, this is very similar. This is about a woman, also called Sarah, relocating to Reykjavik. So she is an anthropologist and a filmmaker, and she's sort of spellbound by Iceland and its landscape. It says, an immediate love for this country and for Bjarni, a man she meets there, turns a week-long stay into a transformative half-decade, one which radically alters Sarah's understanding of herself and of the natural world. She embarks on a relationship not only with Bjarni, but with the light, the language, and the old wooden house they make their home. She finds a place where midwinter moon reflected by snow is brighter than daylight, where the earth can tremor at any time, and where the word for echo, bergmál, translates as the language of the mountains. So yeah, so I thought this would be a great one to read this month again with Strangers in Iceland, Names for the Sea, because I do like to reread that, and it's my birthday month and I like to treat myself to some rereads, so that one as well. And then I also got this, which sounds so gorgeous. So this is Island Summers, Memories of a Norwegian Childhood by Tilly Colm Seymour. This is about Tilly and her grandmother. Tilly's grandmother used to spend every summer on an island called Smalholmen, which is a small island off the coast of Norway. And it says it captured her imagination. Legend has it that she bought the island in exchange for a mink coat. Every summer from then on, she and her young family would escape the English countryside for the island's rugged outcrops and sparkling waters, spending their days running wild, thieving for gull eggs and rowing on the lagoon. 35 years later, Tilly returned to Smalholm as a young woman to spend her first winter on the island. Vivid and enchanting, Island Summers is the captivating story of 3 generations of women and the island they made their own. Sounds bloody great, doesn't it? So I think that's going to slide onto my TBR for this month as well, whether or not I'll actually get to it. But yeah, it sounds great. I think this would be good to read either. Oh, just not myself. I like a bit of seasonal reading. The fact that this is set either in the summers, when we're hearing about the summers, or on Tilly returning to spend their first winter at the island, could be read in either. So yeah, if I don't get this read in November, I'll probably pop this on the old January TBR as well. And then I was sent off my wish list, which I love when that happens, the second Murdle book. So this is Murdle, More Killer Puzzles. I'm currently halfway through the first Murdle book, and I am having a great time with it. David and I, when we go to bed of an evening, so nice, I read about a chapter of my book, and then David's doing a Sudoku, and then after I've read a chapter of my book, I just turn to my Murdle book and do some Murdle puzzles. So these are like logic puzzles. You might well remember these. Do you remember these grids? I used to love the logic puzzles, and they sort of would say something like the left-handed person could not hold the fountain pen, and that would mean that the left-handed person didn't murder the person because the person was murdered with a fountain pen. So you'd go and find the left-handed person in the fountain pen box, and you'd click them off, and then etc, etc. So yeah, it's a really, really fun collection of puzzles, and it sort of tells the story as it goes on. So yeah, I was absolutely elated that somebody sent this to me off my wish list, so thank you so much to that person. Very exciting. Yeah, that will go under the first one, because like I said, I'm about halfway through, but I've been enjoying so much doing 1 or 2 every night. Very challenging, but very sort of make my brain go a bit. And then the last one I got sent was a book from a publisher that I hadn't asked for it to be sent. This sometimes happens, you get unsolicited ones sent to me, but I thought this sounded quite fun. So this is Last Stop on the Murder Express by CJ Farrington. I think partly I was wowed by this cover, pink first, but also snow, train with a star on the front, little hedgehog, and a little like Pine Martin, I think that is. But yeah, it says here, literary fame beckons for Olga Pushkin. Okay, Olga Pushkin is the character in here. I believe there is a series of these. Railway engineer, second class, when her self-help manual for hard-working women is taken on by a publisher. In the meantime, however, Olga still has a household to support, a hedgehog to feed and a railway track to maintain. But worst of all, her beloved sergeant of police, Vasily Marushkin, has become reunited with his long-lost wife, Rosalina. Matters aren't helped when Olga's scheming superior, Boris Andreev, forces her to babysit a special Romanov-themed murder mystery steam train doing the rounds of the local towns. Parked in a siding near Rosaleni, the players deliver their first of several intended performances, only for a staged murder to become very real. So there we go. Those are the books that I've got my mitts on so far this month in December. Always excited to see Christmas books, always excited to go for a little bookish treat. Let me know which of these books sound most exciting to you. Let me know what books you've got your mitts on recently, and I'll see you all again soon for another BookTube video. Goodbye!